Eagle 95.1, WUPN, Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region. The Game on Eagle 95.1.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Game Sports Show. Monday, February the 12th. It's yours truly, David McCaig, and I have Jamie Antonello and Justin Hykel beside me. And before I welcome them on in, I want to say welcome to you, the listeners. We're here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill on a very special edition. Usually we're here on Wednesdays at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. However, we were not here last week to talk our famous In the Pocket segment and amongst other stuff in the world of sports. So we are doing it Monday here, February the 12th, and we also don't have a live show at the Wicked Sister tonight. So we decided that it would be best for the show this week, for SportsCenter show to make up for last week, and to combine it with this week to do it on Monday today, February the 12th. Like I said, Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello and Justin Hykel, and we are going to be talking the In the Pocket segment. It is the season ending In the Pocket segment. We're going to have some special edition In the Pockets throughout the offseason of the NFL, obviously leading up to next year. However, this is the last In the Pocket segment of the season. Then we also have a little bit of basketball talk, especially with those Toronto Raptors being top in the Eastern Conference. They look like they're for real. And then we're going to introduce the roundtable discussion. That's going to be a newly incorporated edition and part of this show here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. And that's going to be the show for myself, Justin, and Jamie. We're here live at SportsCenter for the famous Monday, Wednesday, 75-cent wing nights. It's went up a little bit in price, but still very cheap. They serve those from 4 p.m. until 12 a.m., and it's eat-in only. And like I said, we're here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. I got to thank Scott Nason for being the board operator tonight, and Tiana Blair and Alicia White being the great and beautiful waitresses they always are. Easy, there's the easy. And I got to thank our additional sponsors. We got Boston Pizza. We have North Shore Sports and Auto. We have the Salon, Discover the Canvas, and the Superior Pro Shop here in Sault Ste. Marie. Then across the river in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, we have the Wicked Sister and Pingator Cleaners, a long list of options in terms of sponsors. And we thank our sponsors for being a part of the show. And you can hear Mondays live at the Wicked Sister. You can hear myself, Scott, Butch, and EJ from 6 to 7 on Eagle 95.1, then 7 to 8. We're pre-recorded before we put on. And then Wednesdays, we're here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill, except tonight, we're Mondays, and we're here from 9:30 to about 10:30 p.m. And then on Thursdays, we have our Boston Pizza show, and that's for myself, Justin, and Dane, and we're going to have other guests like Jamie, who's on our Wednesday show. We have many guests come on for that Thursday show at Boston Pizza, so make sure you come on by to one of those 3 locations when we're there, especially at Boston Pizza, because we have our trivia question. And that trivia question, the question this week was, Boston Pizza has how many menu items? And the winner of this certain question, getting the answer correctly, will get a special prize from Boston Pizza. And we've had our winners are usually getting large pizzas, free appetizers, Super Bowl ticket parties, and entries into TV draws and everything, so you can be a part of that. So make sure that you're there for that. And even when you're here for us at SportsCenter Bar and Grill, come and ask us a question. Maybe you can get you on the show while we're recording. Same with the same case on Monday as well. So, fellas, I'm going to bring in the crew that's here with me tonight. Dustin Grana is still on paternity leave. Seems like his In the Pocket debut won't be until next season when the ball gets kicked off. Justin, you're one of my usual contributors. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. Back from the dead after that flu that was going around.
Big flu going around the Sioux. Jamie, good to see you, man. You're back. I know we didn't do a show last week because, as I said, we canceled to this week. I know you didn't. You had the flu as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, again, back from the dead like Justin, but happy to be alive, walking around, and happy to be here.
Absolutely. We always have a fun show here at SportsCenter along with all our shows. And fellas, like I said, tonight's going to be In the Pocket. Then we're going to have basketball and a round table talk. And I'll get into the round table, what that's going to be when we get to that portion. So we're just going to dive right on into In the Pocket right now. And I'm excited. I'm just ready to dive on into this and say the Eagles won the Super Bowl. 41-33 against the New England Patriots. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, take a seat, move over. Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles have defeated you in Super Bowl 52. And I remember sitting here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill, literally behind us at that long table that we usually sit at. And I remember celebrating, starting a Tom Brady chant in the restaurant here that's inappropriate to say on radio. So I'm not going to say that. I will tell you guys on air, or off air, what that was. And the whole place here at SportsCenter was packed. They had a TV draw as well. They had many prizes they were giving out. It was a great atmosphere here, and it was so fitting to see Tom Brady lose and just tapped off a great Super Bowl. And Justin Timberlake. Sure, it was a long Super Bowl halftime show, but I loved the performance of Justin Timberlake. Janet Jackson was not there this year. We had a great tribute to Prince, though. Great show by Justin Timberlake. Just a great Super Bowl all around. Jamie, I'm going to go to you first. Just for a little bit of recap here on the Super Bowl. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, that was exciting. Bottom line, it was fun to watch the whole game. There was no part of the game that wasn't enjoyable. There was no lull, none of that. Obviously, the vast majority of people wanted to see Philly win outside of the New England area and a few select fans here and there. But Nick Foles, wow, what a game. Doug Peterson, first of all, for being the ballsiest play caller on the planet. Yes. Along with Nick Foles for calling his own number on the Philly special play. But what a game overall. Just timely. Like when Philly needed a play, like that sack by Brandon Graham, forced the fumble when they needed it. Unreal. Just unreal.
You see, Nick Foles went 28 for 43 for 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. And let me give you this stat. Trey Burton, 1 for 1 with a touchdown throwing it to Nick Foles.
The interception wasn't even his fault.
No, it wasn't. And with this game, the Eagles, Justin, really were the underdogs in this game. That is an understatement, I think, as well, because everyone thought Brady against Foles. But the Eagles kept it simple. As we kind of discussed before, even the Super Bowl, you and I were just texting, keeping it simple. And this was a gunslinger game, though. You got a lot of points going up on the board, and I thought maybe in a gunslinger match against Brady, I didn't know if Foles would be able to keep up with Brady in that turn of aspect. But seeing Brady come out of the pocket, a little bit older than when you look at some other videos 10 years ago. Nick Foles had a lot of motivation going to this game. He kept his composure, and he played the game on his level. He made the Patriots play on his level, and it was just great offensive, defensive, sort of showing, even though they put up, it was an offensive showing in terms of the Eagles and the Patriots put up. And the defensive side was decent, but not great, obviously. It's a pretty, made a play or two.
The Patriots dropped the ball, leaving Butler on the bench. And I'm gonna make the call now and say but by mid-March here, the new Indianapolis Colt, Malcolm Butler, leaving him on the bench. That's
I like that. Justin, I'm gonna go to you though. We went to Jamie with his part of his little recap on the Super Bowl. What's yours? What'd you like about the game? What are some points about the game?
Well, I mean, I thought just watching this game, the Philadelphia Eagles were a prime example of a team that came together over the course of the season. I mean, there's good teams in sports that have a bunch of natural athletes that can win just based on skill. The Eagles, they were underdogs. Every player on the team would say that they're underdogs.
I don't think they've been a favorite since
every player on that team felt disrespected by everyone else in the league. And when you get a team with the same mentality, they're powerful. When you get a team with the mentality that the whole league is disrespecting them, you're going to have problems. And that's what the Patriots had. I mean, the Eagles came out, they left everything on the field. And you know what? I think as much as I'm not a Patriots fan, I think that Brady left everything on the field as well. He played a hell of a game. I don't think the Patriots defense couldn't keep up. The Eagles let him have it. And Garrett, he set the tone in that game. When the Eagles needed someone to make a little noise in the trenches for him, he was running with hate. The Patriots, the same thing, disrespect. Patriots didn't want to pay him. We don't need you. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. And what is it's fourth Super Bowl, I think? Yeah. Is it? Third, sorry. But like he's
Chris Long both back to back.
well, and he's in Hall of Fame contention now.
Yeah.
Like any other running back with the kind of
if he goes over 10,000 yards in his career, he's got a good shot.
and like he's got a lot of yards left on him. He hasn't seen heavy action until the last few years of his career.
For sure not. It seems like his third Super Bowl ring, and now he goes to the Eagles and he wins one. And having Jay Ajayi had 57 yards in the game as well, but Blunt having 90 in the game and 1 touchdown.
All the running backs for Philly contributed, though. Coleman had over 100 receiving, had a crazy toe tap catch, which, I mean, whether it was a catch or not, who cares? It's counted. But, yeah, that's a team that, like, Doug Peterson got everything out of those guys. You have Carson Wentz go down. Jason Peters went down. A lot of people forgot about that. Their starting left tackle was one of the top 5 tackles in the league. Like, you get guys get injured all over the place, and you're still able to play at a super high level and win a Super Bowl against, like, a team that was building. Well, I mean, really, we could say the Patriots have had a dynasty going for a while. But really, if they won again this year, that's another 3-over-4, like they did in the early 2000s. You can't compete with that, but Philly was unreal.
And Nick Foles is in a weird circumstance now. You got Carson Wentz coming back next year. That's the future of the QBs with the Philadelphia Eagles. After the Eagles probably should put a statue of Nick Foles outside. Obviously joking, but what happens next year to Nick Foles now? I know, staying with the Super Bowl talk, though, he wins the Super Bowl. Does he back up Wentz next year? Does he move on? Does he get traded? Justin, I'll go to you first.
I think with the mentality of this team, I think Nick Foles is a very humble guy. Like going into the 2017-2018 season, like Nick Foles didn't have a guaranteed spot on a roster, and his head wasn't in the game. Like he wasn't 100% dedicated to football, and he even said that. You saw that in interviews all leading up to the Super Bowl. Like, so for him
he wasn't going to come out of retirement unless it was a great situation,
and he got put into these circumstances where he succeeded, and I don't want to take anything away from his playing ability, but I really do think that this was a perfect storm of circumstances for him to succeed. I think he would humbly accept the opportunity to come back to Philly and be a backup. I think there's going to be a lot of money thrown at him, but coming from a guy who had to learn how to love football again to come back, I think staying in Philly and even mentoring some younger players, some guys in the offense and stuff like that, there's more of a benefit to him doing that than there would be going anywhere else.
And looking at the kind of the Patriots side of things, Jamie, before we go to your point with Foles, Brady had 505 yards for 3 touchdowns. But Danny Amendola was 0 for 1 on his pass completion rate after Brady totally missed the pass. No, Brady totally missed that pass. I know you had some comments with Foles, so I'll get back there before we jump back into Brady.
Yeah, I think Philly be crazy to let him go. And like you said, Just, like, I don't think that's Nick Foles is that kind of guy. Like, he's not going to chase crazy amounts of money. He's done that already. Like, he's gotten signed. He's had all of his success in Philly. Like, that coaching staff, like, they just lost Frank Reich. That's their only loss. But really, Doug Peterson was the play caller. You're not really losing a ton. Like, it's not like you lost all of your guys on the offensive side. You have a great relationship with Carson Wentz already. Stay there. I think he's fine. Well, not fine. It's hard to win a Super Bowl and then be fine not playing. But I think he's in it for that team atmosphere that's there. Like, Philly's unreal. Like, they're setting up. If they can keep a couple of these guys, and the big thing is their backfield doesn't cost them a lot. Like, they're going to have to pay Alshon at some point. Zach Ertz is going to get a new contract at some point. But, like, there's guys that are locked up there. They're going to be there a while. They love that underdog role. So as long as they're rolling with that, even if it's for a couple years of high quality football, and Nick Foles is one of those guys that's going to lead the charge there.
Nick Foles has the record tied for 7 touchdowns in a game. Gets a touchdown in the Super Bowl, reception touchdown, not just a throw-in touchdown, and the first quarterback to ever do so. MVP had already engraved his name on that going into the final seconds of the fourth quarter to clinch the Super Bowl there. And you had to think in the fourth quarter with the Patriots storming down the field a couple times. Oh, here we go again. Jesus Christ. No one's going to stop Gronk. And look, you got with James Wright, their running game wasn't absolutely huge. It was the reception game with the Patriots, obviously. 505 yards. Yes, exactly. You got Amendola with 152 yards. You got Chris Hogan, 128, and Gronk, 116, then 2 touchdowns. Gronkowski, the guy who apparently is going to be rumored to retire early and probably sign with the WWE. But that's another fun topic. We can get into it another day. The Patriots reception yards, Brady had a great game overall, except that bad catch that he didn't make. That catch he did not make. But other than that, Brady had a stellar game. The Patriots put up a good fight, but just at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles are more determined and had a better game overall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with that.
It's played a complete team game. That was it. If you've ever coached a sport in your life and you saw how the Eagles came together, you were proud. You were proud of the coaches for the Eagles. You were proud of the players for the Eagles. They came together. They played as a team. They left everything out there. And to be honest, I thought they kicked the Patriots' ass that game. That's hands down.
Yep. Perfect word to use is ass for that kind of circumstance. And when the Patriots went into this game, the fans had the Eagles doubted, but the fans in Philadelphia, even if they win or losing, they were celebrating the way they did when they won the Super Bowl either way. That's what I kind of want to jump into.
I'm amazed that Minneapolis is still standing, first of all. It's crazy. It's insane.
In Minneapolis and Philadelphia, people just flipping cars, breaking everything. And myself and Dane, on our last show of In the Pocket here at Sportscenter, we talked about trying to keep it classy, Philly. But they did not keep it classy. But am I a fan of that? No, I'm not, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, they're celebrating, I guess.
I don't think it was ridiculously out of hand, aside from a few incidents. And even during the parade, everyone seemed to just be genuinely having a good time.
It's definitely nothing worse than a Montreal Canadiens fan has ever done after a hockey loss.
Vancouver.
Yeah, or and the Canadians lose their second game in October and burn the city down. It's no different. That's
same thing. But with the Eagles getting this win, does this make them favorites next year? Right out of the hop, favorites next year over the Patriots.
I mean, they're favorites in their division, 100%. They're probably favored to still make the championship game at least, but a lot of it depends on Carson's health. Even if he's not healthy, you still got Nick there, who's going to be fine. If you can bring back some guys, who knows?
The funny part about the NFL and the good part about the game of football is that anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. Anyone can be good. Look at the Jags this year. People were laughing about Jacksonville in August. And then they came in and they made the Patriots look like little girls for the first little bit of that game. And they didn't know what to do. The Patriots were scrambling. There's not many teams in the league this year that had the Patriots scrambling like that. The Patriots are masters of adjustment. They can usually, the next series, they're out there and they got it figured out. And the Jags had them, their minds were blown.
They did, absolutely. The Jags, Blake Bortles at the helm.
Don't be hating on Blake. I love Blake.
Blake Bortles may have shown that he can lead a team. Wouldn't have been amazing to see him and Nick Foles at the Super Bowl, though. Let's have a hypothetical view for a second. Imagine if it was Foles against Bortles. No one would have ever predicted that. It didn't happen, obviously, but you said the Jags are a surprising team this year. Their offense steamrolled my defenseless Steelers that were an absolute kindergarten team out there in terms of being defense. And then you have Minnesota Saints game that's one of the best endings to a football game that I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of good endings to games, but that one's one of the best. And Williams, who's had a great year at corner for the Saints, had that missed tackle. The playoffs all around were just so exciting this year. And we're obviously the kind of playoffs for the underdogs because look who won the Super Bowl. They were a top seed, so I shouldn't say that they were underdogs, but going against Brady, they were absolutely underdogs when they had Nick Foles instead of Carson Wentz at the helm.
Yeah, well, they were 100% underdogs. They were not the favorite in a game since Carson got hurt. And some of those games was a wide margin, 10 points in some of them. But, yeah, like you said, the playoffs was wild this year. A lot of people forget, Marcus Mariota threw and caught a touchdown, the same play. The Jacksonville Steelers game, even that, aside from basically Tennessee, New England was the most boring game of the playoffs.
There wasn't a game I hated. Every playoff game was exciting. It was kind of a change up from the regular season where the regular season, games got so over officiated that 4.5 hours into the game, you just had to give up because you had other things to do.
More over officiated or more favored towards New England?
No, I just find, and this is, I'm trying to sit on the fence here and not go to one side or the other. But number one, I feel that there needs to be a push for younger referees in the NFL, because I think that some of these refs just aren't up. They can't see the game at the speed at which the game is being played. And that's why there's such an emphasis. That's why there's such an emphasis on replay. And the more replay you do, the more speed you take out of the game. The more speed you take out of the game, the less people are watching. The other token is that you need to make the rules simpler. Like, why is there, rule number 22, figuring out what's a catch, what's not a catch. Well, there doesn't need to be A through Z and 1 through 365 on a breakdown of that. Is it a catch or isn't a catch? It needs to be black or white. We could go into arguments about this in other sports too, but the fact of the matter is that the referees are being either burdened with trying to make too many decisions, or they need an extra set of eyes out there, maybe another ref, or maybe they need just younger guys. You're too old. It is what it is. Players get too old too. That happens.
I will say the officiating in the Super Bowl I felt was one-sided. Yes. I was going to go more rude. I love it. Yeah, I was going to be kind of more blunt about it, more blunt. Thank you very much. But at the end of the day, it's good to see the team a different team win at the end of the day. Maybe that could be one day be a discussion. I know us being Leafs fans, Steeler fans, yourself being a Buck fan, Jamie, and yourself being a Colts fan, Justin. I'm sure you'd like to see the Colts win 10 years in a row. So maybe I'm being kind of just hating on the Patriots a little bit there, especially. But with this game in general, entertaining, all in throughout, from the anthem till the Super Bowl parade after the Super Bowl. Entertaining. And the fans made it entertaining. Nick Foles made it great. And what a great thing for Nick Foles to do. So I just can't believe how great of a game he did, how well composed he was. Just in general, in terms of making the game being better than Brady was.
The stage wasn't too big for him. That was the big thing. He was calm. He played a good game. He didn't freak out. He didn't look panicked. Like Blake Bortles at the end of the AFC Championship game looked panicked. Like he looked like the weight of the Super Bowl was on his shoulders. Yes. So you never saw that in Nick.
No. Yeah, it was crazy to see that game, to be honest. Like, coming from a season where people were getting bored of football, like that Super Bowl, that was a game. I've seen a couple football games in my life, and that one was probably top 10. Just as far as offense goes, as far as entertainment goes. And I'm a Colts fan, so by default, most Patriots games get dropped down, not in my top 10 regardless, even if they contain the Colts. That's just how I feel. But that was a good game. It's a good way to send off the NFL, I think. Hopefully we can have some more positives going on in the offseason and get ourselves going with another 203 days until kickoff.
The exact countdown. I know your offseason, though, Justin, didn't start as planned for the Colts, but we're going to talk about that after our break, and that's what we're going to do right now. It's Dave McCaig here alongside Jamie Antonello and Justin Hykel, live from Sportscenter Bar and Grill, here for the famous In the Pocket segment. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to enjoy some SportsCenter famous pizza, some 75-cent wings, and some Molson products here. When we come back, it's going to be more In the Pocket, talking about some off-season things in terms of coaching changes, in terms of moves that have been made and potential moves going into the offseason, and a contract extension for a particular quarterback, a former Patriot. When we get back here, we're going to talk all about that stuff. Don't go away here on The Game. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm non-bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show.
And welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, Dave McCaig, alongside Jamie Antonello to the front of me, the north of me. Yes, that would be north. Justin Hykel to my west, to my left. I'm going with directional stuff here. I don't know why I'm trying that, but I feel like it's in it. My geography sucks. We're here live. Appreciate it. You know, I tried that. I tried to give it the geography portion. I will not. We're here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. We had a good first part of the show talking about the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl, and we're not done with the In the Pocket segment, but this is the last part of the In the Pocket segment until we have our special editions in the offseason, until kickoff next year, which is 200 and how many days?
203 days.
203 days away to the Steelers win next year. Calling that early. Thought I'd do that. Oh, Ben Roethlisberger retiring? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Don't. Does that mean Kirk Cousins going over there? We'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to let you two, Justin and Jamie, kind of spearhead this kind of portion of In the Pocket. We're going to talk about the coaching, McDaniels not going to the Colts. Justin, I kind of need to hear, and the listeners need to hear your rant if they haven't heard you on Facebook within the last week or so. And then we can talk about a little bit other offseason moves. You know, Alex Smith going over to the Skins. What does that leave with Kirk Cousins? And we'll get into that. We'll go a little back and forth with that. But majority right now, right off the hop, we'll jump into all the coaching needs and jump into McDaniels staying with the Patriots. And also even kind of jump into, if you want to, Jamie, because I know we didn't really jump into it, was the Philadelphia Eagles parade, if you want to get to the concluding part of that. But I'm going to let you two kind of spearhead. Jamie, you start off with whatever part you'd like with this offseason so far.
Well, we might as well start with Josh McDaniels just to get it out there. Yeah, I might as well do it. I'll put my take before I let Justin go. The most Patriot thing that the Patriots could have done after losing a Super Bowl, first of all, because in the 11th hour, pull shoot, and Justin can tell you exactly what Ballard said, which is awesome, but just the balls on him to do that, first of all. Lack thereof is probably a better way of putting it. He's basically skewered himself from ever getting a job anywhere other than New England. And there's some kind of insider info that he knows, obviously, that Belichick, but probably Robert Kraft too. Like, there's a lot going on there that he's happy there. I think he's realized, why would I leave? But still, pretty gutty to do, especially. And like, he screwed over the Colts here big time, but you got to get your head coach signed before you get assistants signed. That's the one thing I can say that they did badly, is they had all the assistants signed, and sure, they had all the guarantees, and he pulled out right at the 11th hour, and what are you going to do? But I think it's something they'll just learn for next time. And I mean, they got Frank Reich now. It seems to be, he's coming off a Super Bowl win, so hopefully he can fit in there. And I'm not sure if he's going to keep all the assistants. This is breaking news. It just came out like an hour ago that Frank Reich signed. But, yeah. Justin?
Well, I mean, like,
You're allowed to say some curse words.
it's bad on the Colts because he wasn't signed. The reason he wasn't signed is because he was still an active coach because they were in the Super Bowl. So there wasn't a lot of time in between the Super Bowl loss, and you know what I mean. I can understand there's probably some emotions running high, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When Tom comes and cries on your couch for 2 days, he's making out with your kids and doing whatever else he does. And I can understand why that you would probably want to stay in New England. But like, the only other coach in the history of the NFL to pull some sort of garbage little bitch nonsense like this was Bill Belichick with the Jets, and I believe 99. Like 2 hours before his press conference, he was supposed to get introduced as the coach of the Jets, and he was being introduced as the coach of the Patriots. Like, I think that's a slimy move. Like, you really tarnish your reputation. I mean, he's got the Patriots thing hang with him, so you take that with you wherever you go. You're a part of the Patriots dynasty, yada, 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 whatever. Like, I was the guy videotaping practices everywhere I went, but I'm part of a dynasty, so it's okay. But whatever. Like, that's, if he wants to stay in New England, that's great. If Tom Brady wants to play next year, that's great. I don't think he's going to be playing too many games after Indy rolls into town next year. I honestly don't think so. Like, and that's not me being an angry Colts fan. That's me thinking like a football coach, where if my friend called me and had me sign as the defensive coordinator in Indianapolis, and then he hung me out to dry, and now I'm the defensive coordinator in Indianapolis
instead of New England.
And so,
Which, it's
I'm
not bad.
I'm coming for you. That's and our general manager handled it. I think the most. Like, he took the high road to no extent. Given the tragedy that went on in the organization, Super Bowl Sunday, we lost a linebacker who was doing the right thing, took an Uber home after he was drinking, and got killed by a drunk driver on the highway. Him and the Uber driver, and there's 2 people who were killed there, not just him. And so there's a lot of team building that goes on around an event like that too. And these newly hired defensive coaches, you get to, being 4 weeks in the building, you get to know these guys. And then all of a sudden, the guy who's coming to be your boss up and doesn't show up. Well, you do. I mean, having coached football in my life, I'd feel a commitment to these players. I wouldn't want to leave. And I know, Jamie, you've coached.
100%. That was the biggest thing that you said to me off air was these guys have been in the building for a month, because all these guys were assistants that were either out of the NFL, were working for teams that didn't make the playoffs or got cut in the first round, and you develop relationships with all these guys. Like, the blackout doesn't start until like this week, pretty much, where you're not really supposed to have, where it's optional for players to be in the building. Coaches can't reach out to players for a certain period of time. But yeah, like, these guys have been around these guys for a month, like, and it's tragedy what happened to the linebacker, but just gutty. Like, I like Josh McDaniels a lot. He's one of my favorite offensive coordinators, but that's a brutal thing to do as a human being.
Well, just like on a personal level, it's just, you know what, the coaching pedigree aside, that's, as a human being, that's a garbage move. It's terrible. Like, it leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. And I mean, it should. I'm a Colts fan, but I mean, from fans of like other football fans and people that have just played sports, you just don't. You handle things at face value at that level, like you're professional. That wasn't a professional move. And I think, but our general manager put it the best way. He just said, McDaniels, he called me about 6:45. I was in draft meetings, and he said, I have some bad news for you, Chris. And Ballard said, well, are you in or are you out? And McDaniels just said, well, I have some bad news for you. And he said, yes or no. And he tried to explain to him again, and then Ballard just said yes or no, got the no, hung up on him. He had draft meetings to be in. We'll move on. And what else can you do? What's dwelling on it going to do? I mean, we're not even a week removed. We've got a new head coach. He's got a familiarity with the team. I mean, he coached Peyton Manning for his 2 best seasons in Indianapolis. And he's got some recent, qualifications. He's doing all right. He's been doing okay the last couple of days. So I think we'll move forward. I think we'll move on. Outside of the Colts disaster, I think the Lions got a really good head coach in Matt Patricia. Looks like he showed up and signed his contract. Yeah, so that's good.
Fit, I think, like Patricia with the Lions.
I think it is. I really do think it is. I think like the Lions defense, has some issues, but if they can re-sign Ziggy Ansah, and that'd be a big one for them moving forward. I think they've got a good defense to build off. They've already got an excellent offense. They could use some help on offensive line, but
their biggest issue with the 2 is running back. That's another side that always needs a little tuning.
The Lions did maintain JBC there, Jim Bob Cooter, as their offensive coordinator. So, It gives someone to familiarize Patricia with the team when he walks in.
That's a big
and
part of the culture.
and he can focus mostly on the defense, which I'm assuming is why they brought him in there.
Yeah, he's going to call the D for sure.
So I think you let Jim Bob Cooter off the chains a little bit more, let him handle the offense, and let Patricia take a more defensive handle on the team.
See, the big thing else, I'll just throw a little 2 cents in terms of McDaniels. I feel like there's a little insight on Bill Belichick potentially leaving and McDaniels taking over that role. That's what I think was promised to him, but is that going to happen? Don't know. Patricia to the Lions, just his look, his aggression in terms of being a coach. I just like what the Lions are doing, bringing him in. Let's just say, understatement, that that organization is hurting to win. They're almost as bad to hurt as the Cleveland Browns. Okay, almost. No one's as bad as the Cleveland Browns. But at the end of the day, the Lions are starving for some good progression. And Patricia, I think, has the ability to put them in that direction. I think he needs a little bit of help offensively, like I said, the O-line, but biggest thing's running back. Who have they had as a running back in the last 10, maybe 10's stretching it too far, but at least 5 to 8 years that has been a stud? Reddick hasn't been a stud. Abdullah, when they had Reggie Bush there temporarily, that obviously project didn't work out. It wasn't like an Adrian Peterson with Arizona this year. He started with New Orleans. But, at the end of the day, the Lions need help on running back because Stafford's arm, he can huck the ball 500 yards a game. And Galladay looked okay this year, and Jones had a monstrous year for the Lions. So I think if they can add a back and a receiver, which is a big wish list for an offseason, but then Patricia, I think the Lions can make some serious damage, especially Patricia at the helm. Jamie?
Yeah, and unfortunately, the running back class is not as deep as last year. It's Saquon Barkley and then it's everybody else. But Saquon's going to go top 5, and the Lions just aren't up there. But, yeah, Riddick and Abdullah are not bad backs by any means, but you need another guy that can kind of carry the mail a little bit more. That's not going to happen. No. But, sorry, there's no way the Saints let him go. But I think if you can get one guy, look at the rookie class last year, even if you can find some guy that, a Kareem Hunt or somebody, that kind of comes out of the woodworks a little bit. You have to be pretty heavy into scouting and stuff to know Kareem Hunt before he got to the show. Kansas City got a gem there for sure. But even if you can bring in a guy that can kind of fill a LeGarrette Blount role, but to a smaller extent, if you can come in and be a goal line guy, you can carry the rock a little bit, then you'll be all right.
Could they trade for Ajayi from the Eagles this year after Blount had his role, or do you feel he's untouchable?
No way. No.
I feel like Blunt's a free agent, number one. I feel like he was only on another 1-year contract. Yeah. But they need a guy like that. They need a tone setter. If you're not going to spend the money on offensive line to protect your quarterback, then you need a guy that can come through every 3 or 4 plays and make linebackers think twice about coming through the line. You have to protect your quarterback. I don't think they need a wide receiver. I think they have an unlimited amount of talent at wide receiver, given that they have Matt Stafford at quarterback. Matt Stafford reminds me a lot of, the 2 years Andrew Luck was good and healthy. He makes players around him better, as long as you give him time to do that. The Lions had, I can't think of his name right now, Caldwell as their head coach, who came from Indianapolis. So, the fact that the Lions offense looks eerily similar to the Colts Huck'em Chuck'em offense, it makes a lot of sense.
See, the thing for the Lions, I'm expecting a decent year out of the Lions this year. I'm excited to see Patricia implement his ingredients on that offense and on that defense and on that team in general.
I'm curious if they go to a 3-4 now, though. I think they probably will with Patricia there. That's just what he knows, and so if they can get Ansah re-signed, he's a pretty. They're gonna have to ask him to do a lot more from that outside linebacker spot, but they're gonna have to find a guy that's like a Rob Ninkovich and a Vrabel before that. Those are the two things they need: a bigger back that can kind of carry the mail a little bit, and if they can get an outside linebacker and re-sign Ansah, those are 3 big moves that they got to do. And I think Patricia will find somebody there that'll fill those roles.
Absolutely, Dave McCaig alongside Justin Hykel and Jamie Antonello live Monday. Sportscenter Bar and Grill for the 75-cent famous wing nights. Guys, more on this topic in terms of off-season. Smith going to the Skins. Alex Smith can trade from the Chiefs to the Skins. in a questionable trade. Maybe because the Skins know that Cousins may not be returning. There's not returning. Big Ben maybe retiring from Pittsburgh. He hasn't said he's coming back. Yeah, he says he wants to play till he's 40. No,
I think Garoppolo signing that contract really helped motivate Roethlisberger to decide he wants to come back and play football.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I kind of hope Big Ben does. I think he had a good last game, despite what happened in the outcome. That wasn't his fault, what happened in that last game. But Cousins, where does he go? Do we talk about that? Do you want to jump in to see where he goes? Predictions? See where he may end up? Or is it to Steel Town? Or is it to Miami? Is it Miami? Is it... I'm trying to think more. Is it Jacksonville to put out Blake Bortles? I don't know.
It's, to me, in my mind, like the default, just as soon as you say Kirk Cousins is available, the Denver Broncos. Like that's where I'm going. Like the Broncos are still built to win. Their defense is good. Their offense is okay. They have 2 stellar wide receivers. The running game is the Denver Broncos running game that hasn't changed since I've been watching football. Whoever's running the ball is successful. It just, whatever scheme that they do, it works. So if you have a guy like Kirk Cousins who, like, now people say he had a down year this year. Well, he didn't have Deshaun Jackson. He had Terrell Pryor, who didn't work out as a quarterback in Cleveland, so was transitioned to wide receiver because Josh Gordon couldn't stop smoking weed. So that's what he was working with. He had, what's his tight end there, who was hurt the entire time? Reed? And
Josh Reed, yeah.
He was hurt nonstop. Vernon Davis stepped up, but I mean, Vernon Davis 10 years ago would have been a lot better and more useful.
Yeah, looked unreal at the start of the year, and then he was hurt after week 5.
Kelly got a lot of those carries after Thompson went down.
Cousins didn't have a stellar supporting cast, and Washington just said, "Wow, you didn't do it."
It's clearly not on Kirk. Like I think he loved Kirk at first. He's just not. He's not buying into Kirk. Like there's a reason guys don't get franchise tagged back-to-back years. It just doesn't happen. None of the quarterbacks don't get franchise tagged. This was ridiculous when it happened. So I think he's just taking a shot with Alex Smith. You know what you're going to get with Alex. I mean, you know what you're going to get with Kirk too, but I think he was just kind of fed up with it. He didn't want a franchise tag. At
the end of the day, what they did with RG3 in Washington, playing him through that injury, I feel that was a big mistake because he was the guy who had the potential, I feel, to just alter that organization in general. But Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback who has the ability to change the game himself. But it's interesting you bring up the Broncos. I know that's Dustin's team that he picked. That's where Cousins, he predicts, is going to go too. Definitely a good fit. Were you surprised, though, that Smith got dealt to the Skins? Did that catch you off guard? Justin?
Given that it's the Washington Redskins, and I think about it for a second, it's not surprising. Like the Washington Redskins they're the Cleveland Browns of the NFC at mismanaging players. Like they have the aura that the team is kind of good because they play in the NFC East. But the Skins haven't done anything in ages, like absolute ages. Like I don't know, like that. It just I think Kirk got a raw deal, and I think Alex Smith is cashing a check because he was going to get cut in Kansas City, and that's how this is. Like Alex Smith isn't a bad quarterback, but it's Mahomes' time in KC now, and they're moving on.
There's a couple things there, yeah. I think one, it's Kansas City has enough respect for what Alex did for that franchise that they're like, if we can get you paid, we can get you somewhere, we're going to do it. I think he knew at best he was going to have one more year of being the guy. Like I think either they were going to cut him, like you said, if they couldn't get anything for him, or they were going to, I think best case scenario for Alex would have been competition in training camp this year. But I mean, I don't think Alex wants to go through that at this point in his career. I think he'd be happy to be the Redskins guy for a couple more years and then walk off into the sunset. Who cares? He's had a great career. He's got paid. He's played at a pretty high level. He's overcome a lot of crap in his career. But Denver's a good spot. For Kirk, where I'm going is Arizona, though. They don't have to pay David Johnson for a year. He won't hit his contract here for another season. Plus, he's coming off injury, so this is a big prove-it year for him now. He was unreal a year ago. Pieces are there. They're going to have to replace Larry eventually. Who knows if he's even coming back. I think if you potentially bring in Kirk, that entices Larry to come back. I like that fit. I know there's a lot of change there, like you losing Arians and stuff like that. Good defense still, but that's just where I see it happening. Denver, I like Denver too, though. Like both are good landing spots for sure. I think wherever, as long as he doesn't end up in Cleveland or something, like whatever team he gets to is going to be immediately better. No, he's not.
He won't torpedo his career to go to Cleveland. He won't do that. I mean, maybe the only other place I could see him going and thriving, and like you're gonna either give me the look or you're gonna give me the look, and I think the Jets. Because that's another. No, the organization has the balls to spend the money on him. Because I don't think the Broncos do. After the Broncos got burned a little bit in the last couple of years, the Jets, I don't think he'd go to Arizona just because Arizona's too new right now. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of change there right now. Like the Jets are literally another team that's a quarterback away from coming together. Like that, they had a pretty,
believe it or not,
year by any means. He didn't have a bad year. He's just 39-year-old Josh McCown, and that's
former Brown.
I think
everywhere. He played for 9 teams.
I think Kirk Cousins has the enthusiasm, like the aura around him, that could build some excitement around the Jets. You know, like the Giants aren't the team anymore in New York. The Jets could maybe become that team, and a guy like Kirk Cousins, you know what I mean? You like that, getting in people's faces and stuff. That might.
Dude, though, like I don't know if you ever heard Kirk in interviews. He's a weird cat, man.
Odd guy, but I mean, you've played football. How many guys in the locker room were odd ducks?
Like goalies in hockey, different breeds.
Usually your quarterback though isn't that, but I mean, there's got to be one for everybody. But yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Garoppolo signed a nice little contract with the 49ers. Tom Brady's favorite team, as you mentioned, Justin, who is, well, still in New England, Tom Brady is, but Garoppolo over with Shanahan and the 49ers. They're coming together. And this will be our last point, our last in the pocket point before we go to break for the 2017/2018 season. Garoppolo, good signing. Waiting to see, or a bad signing. I know everyone's vote's a good signing, but at the end of the day, what's your analysis, Jamie, on the signing?
Well, I mean, San Francisco had to do it, first of all. Like, you don't make a trade halfway through a season and then not sign the guy, especially after, like, sitting him for a while. I think he sat for 3 games before they got him. No, he wasn't hurt. Shanahan just wanted him to acclimatize the offense a little bit. As soon as he comes in, 5-0. End the season 5-0. Like, the guy's, it's a lot of money, but San Francisco he's the highest paid.
I mean, you want an interesting number comparison, stat comparison, interesting read. I don't know what you want to call it here, but look up Colin Kaepernick's numbers from his last 5 games in San Fran, and look up Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers from his last 5 games in San Fran, because there's not a lot of difference. There's almost absolutely no difference. Kaepernick threw several less interceptions, as far as I believe. So, I mean, that's just an interesting fact. I'm not trying to stir the pot here. I'm not trying to take anything away from Garoppolo. I think the 49ers are definitely going in the right direction. With Jimmy and, Shanahan there. I think that franchise can finally look forward to some positive years, unlike the Cleveland Browns. They're a bit of a tire fire still.
Yeah, in the day, Jimmy G learned from the best in Tom Brady, as much as everyone may not want to admit. He did back up Tom Brady and learn from Bill Belichick in the New England Patriots organization. So I'm sure the 49ers might have struck gold with this. It's funny because they have gold in their jerseys, if you get my pun intended there. Do you guys have anything else you gotta do before we close off the In the Pocket segment for the season and put in the treasure chest? We still have to go to our break, and we're going to come back and talk a little Raptors and roundtable talk. But if you have any more football talk that you want to discuss, Jamie, anything?
Yeah, I can confirm those stats, by the way. Jimmy threw for like 1,500, 300 a game, 7 TDs, 5 touchdowns. Kaepernick threw for 100 less yards, but he was 7 touchdowns and 3 picks, so pretty impressive.
Does Kaepernick get signed this year? How about that? That'll be we could save that for the round table.
Next week round table. That might
be a next week round table. Okay, that'll be a next week round table.
Little teaser, but Philadelphia's parade was off the chain. You had Jason Kelsey going off in the most ridiculous getup, like looks like he just walked out of Mardi Gras, and just absurd things happening all over the place. Like Philly fans going nuts, like you expect them to. Cops having the best time of their life, dancing with everybody. No, they were. The cops just gave into it at this point. They're like, nothing else can get broken, so why not just have fun? People are loving it. I'm drawing a blank. What's the coach's name now? Peterson. One hand snagging beers out of the crowd, like having a great time. No, just people just launching him, just hucking Miller Lights at him, and he's just snagging them one-handed out of the crowd, loving life.
Genuinely good time. Like, it was nice to see. Like, the fans were so happy.
So happy.
Like, it didn't look like they expected it. Like, in New England, it's like, oh, good, another Super Bowl. Let's be crappy Boston sports fans. But that's the fans in Philly. Like, they genuinely loved winning the Super Bowl. Like, people, I saw one picture on Barstool. This guy brought his wife's ashes to the parade.
Yes.
He said because he promised his wife that they'd go to the Super Bowl parade together. Wow. Like, that's some sad stuff. And, like, that's awesome. Like, that's what sports is supposed to be all about.
It's like when Chicago finally won the World Series. Same thing.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, these fans have been starved for so long, and, like, they're good, genuine fans, not garbage bandwagon fans. Like, they genuinely, like, every year in and year out, they support this franchise, and finally something good happens. Like, it's amazing to see.
That's touching. That is amazing. I like that. I hope we get to feel that someday for, well, not for your Colts. I don't know if that's going to happen, but for the yes, it has. But in later times for yourself in life, at Buccaneers, hope later times for yourself as well. But more so, I meant that towards the Maple Leafs for the hockey side of things. But fellas, we're going to close out in the pocket for the season. We'll have some special editions throughout the year, and in our roundtable throughout the course of the In the Pocket off season, we'll have some football topics in there as well. But it's been a good season of In the Pocket. Jamie, I know you're going to be here every week still anyways. And we're going to jump into a new set of topics after our break here. We're going to talk a little NBA, especially those Toronto Raptors. They're so hot right now. And then we're going to have two questions on our first edition of the Roundtable, and then we will conclude our show. So Jamie, Justin, and I are going to sip down a bit more Molson products, and then when we come back, it'll be our NBA and Roundtable talk here on The Game. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Thank you for tuning in to the Game Sports Show, broadcasting Wednesday nights from SportsCenter Bar and Grill in Sault, Ontario, and online at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. I hope you are enjoying the broadcast. If you want to hear more of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national talk show in the world of sports, visit our website at thegamesportshow.com. There you can hear a pair of other broadcasts of the game. If you like hockey, Thursday nights are for you, as the Game Sports Show is at Boston Pizza with Dave McCaig, along with his regular contributors Justin Hykel and Dane Hantro. This show focuses on hockey in the wintertime and baseball in the summer, and includes guests and interviews from local and national figures. The Game can also be heard Monday nights on WUPN Eagle 95.1 locally, or online at RadioEagleSiouxCom from 6 to 7 p.m. on Monday nights. The full 2-hour show from the Wicked Sister in downtown Sault, Michigan can be heard live on our YouTube channel. Just go to the channel Scott Nason. You can also hear the podcast of the show at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Yours truly, along with Dave McCaig and our weekly contributors Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, and EJ Russell on the Team Wireless Hot Seat, as we focus on local, regional, and national sports, including high school basketball and hockey, junior hockey, Lake Superior State University athletics, the Detroit athlete, sports scene, and more. And you can hear all 3 versions of the game at our website. That's once again thegamesportshow.com, or go to the podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look for our channel, Scott Nason, and keep it locked here to the game for all your local, regional, and national sports talk that you just can't get enough of.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsue.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today. And welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig, alongside the individuals that have been here all night. Here on this Monday, February the 12th, wing night here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Jamie Antonello to my front, north, as I said earlier. Justin to my left, west.
Going straight geography here. He's west. I'm south.
You said I'm north and you were like so confident. I was just shaking my head.
Like, you live that way. You live in the West End. That should be an easy one for you.
Good point. I actually didn't think of that. But you know what? That's classic. That's why the best thing will be on live radio. You could just joke around. I wasn't kidding, though. I actually thought north. Anyway, I was talking restaurant direction, not street.
Just because you're inside a building doesn't make compass directions different.
You ever see the compass of Pirates? You ever see the compass of Jack Sparrow?
This isn't Pirates of the Caribbean. This is real life. Stop.
I love it. We have fun. We're here live at Sportscenter for wing night, and it's a lively atmosphere here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, as always, for the Sioux's best sports bar. We've had quite the good show so far. I know we say that all the time. That's because we do have a great show all the time. Doesn't matter what it is. But tonight, with the In the Pocket segment to close out the In the Pocket season, it was a great little discussions that we've had with the Super Bowl and off-season stuff there. So hope you all enjoyed it out there, and I hope you guys enjoyed it yourselves talking about it. Too bad Dustin wasn't here to talk about it. I would like to get his opinion on stuff, but you're allowed when you're on paternity leave. Paternity leave, sorry, not maternity leave. He's on paternity leave. At least I got one thing right today besides my geography knowledge.
I mean, for, what is it? His kid's draft year will be 2036. Is that what it is?
Yes.
That's, there we go.
We'll be talking about it for the future.
Because he's a 17. Oh, he's 17. He's a 17, so it'll be 35.
So J.J. Grondin, running back. Not quarterback, I call it right now. Running back. You're going NHL, or I'm going not football? We're not going to say it's a football. If he has Dustin sniping skills in hockey, fine. But if he has his skating, I don't know about getting drafted.
I've seen him kick a couple field goals. He's all right there. That's pretty good. It's a comfortable career choice, I think.
A kicker. J.J. Grondin, a kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Leading them to the Super Bowl in 2036. The game-winning 50-yard field goal at Heinz Field 2. It's going to be a rebuilt field.
Over the New Orleans Saints.
Over the Saints. Oh, big devastation. I like that. Okay, guys, so this portion of the show, I'm going to introduce this news break on the Sports Center game edition. We ever in the pocket in basketball and our sports sessions where we talk about WWE as well and all that fun stuff. However, basketball and football being our two main sports we're talking about here at SportsCenter, we're actually going to incorporate the round table portion of the show. This is besides basketball and football, but we can bring in football and basketball on these roundtable discussions. Don't get me wrong. But with these roundtable, it's going to be whoever's the hosts, the analysts, and whatnot part of the show. You're going to have 1 to 2 topics, depending on how many analysts that we have and hosts that we have on the show that day. For tonight, it's just going to have 2 questions, and I'm going to be the one who had my 2 points, just having a little teaser leading into next week. And they're going to be fun sport topics. They're not going to be questions. They're not going to be where you have to have the right answer. It's just going to be a topic we're going to throw out, and we just get to chit-chat about it as a round table and have a little bit of fun with it. And I think that's a great idea for the show, a great addition to the show. I'm excited to have it on to get a little bit of let go of the chains and the shackles a little bit in terms of what we can kind of discuss and specific point where if we say one thing, we can go talk about a variety of sports. Like this first question, we can use it in the terms of hockey, we can use it in the terms of baseball, use it in terms of football, basketball, anything we want. So on Wednesdays, besides having the In the Pocket and basketball, we're going to have a round table discussion where we have a variety of sports brought up in there and we're just have simple sport discussion. How do you like that, Justin? You like that touch?
I think it's interesting. I think it'll be fun. Maybe start a few arguments.
That's what I kind of want. That's my goal here on the show is for...
But, you know, we'll do our best.
I'm hoping to take these Molson products and literally shove it up someone's ass. Just kidding. It's aggressive. See, and that's the fun thing about this part, too. We get to have a little bit of fun with it. So, and don't worry, we don't say a lot of swears generally in the show in general. But with this, we're going to have some fun with it, fellas. And the first question of the first ever SportsCenter Pizza Circular Edition roundtable. I'm trying different terms. First question on the SportsCenter edition of the game for roundtable. If you were an athlete, doesn't matter what sport, basketball, football, you can use any example that you want. If it has a different answer, just depending on the sport, you can bring that to your answer. Okay, but if you're an athlete, would money matter or winning multiple championships leading your team to a championship? It could be your team or your favorite team. So simply, is the money or is winning the big part? And in terms of leading your team, would you play for your favorite team only if it was a matter of winning championships? Does money matter? Is money a thing that really staples you into going to a team? Or does just winning championships the big thing for you? And saying with this, we're not saying that you're Tom Brady of the NFL or Sidney Crosby. You're a half-decent talent. In the NHL, you're a second, third liner. In the NFL, you're a second receiver. You are a second safety. A little bit. It's keeping it simple in terms of... Okay, what's your follow-up question?
How did your previous season go? Were you in a career year? Were you in a contract year? And how did you perform? Because that's gonna change my answer 100%.
Good question, Jamie. And that's a good touch. You're a rookie coming out of your rookie contract. You're coming out of your entry-level contract, you're in your third year in the league. You've had a good young career, however. You had 50-plus points in hockey. You've hit 1,000 receiving yards in football. You've hit 20-plus homers in baseball. You average 20 points a game in basketball. Let's go with that. You're an average player, above average player, is what I'm saying. I know I got really in-depth with the safety there and all that. I apologize. Please erase that part, but I was just giving examples. Okay, you're above average to average player. You're not a superstar. So this does not include Austin Matthews' talent. You're an average, above average player. Again, really into the role play, but that's the fun thing about this roundtable discussion. We're going to keep it realistic as possible. Justin, I'm going to go to you first. I'm going to let you talk about what would matter to you, why, throw all your points that you want out there. For this first roundtable, we have 2 questions, and we have a total of about 12 to 13 minutes left on the show. So you keep it on that.
All right. Well, I mean, personally, like I would much rather be on championship teams than cash gigantic checks. Now, given the circumstance, I would still like to be on a championships team because given the circumstance of this player that we talked about, having a Stanley Cup or a Super Bowl, whatever, on my resume is going to get me paid down the road versus trying to gain a check right now. But having played sports in my lifetime and, having benefited from the team aspect of sports and, as a functional human being, I think being on a team where you come together and succeed and win championships does more for your long-term sustainability as a human, because you can do good after. When sports are done, what it's been like to win a championship. You can bring that sort of pedigree to coaching, I just think that carries more weight in life versus a couple extra $1 million. Because let's face facts. You're playing a professional sport regardless, you're clearing $1 million a year. And that's, I'd say, probably about $940,000 a year more than any of us at this table right now.
Yes,
I think you're still pretty good there. And our friend of the show, Paul Maurice, was real good at putting that in perspective, is that any day in the NHL is a good day. And I think a lot of players lose sight of some of this in these big contract negotiations, that it's a privilege to be where you're at. You're not entitled to that. Even just the way the world is, to be able to play a sport as your job every day. For every one person there is that can go out and do what they love as a career, there's 1 million people that aren't. I don't know, I'm not going to say that's hard numbers, but I'd say that's that's not an over-exaggeration. So I think, me personally, I would rather win an endless amount of championships than continue cashing checks. Just being able to go forward, the stories, the friendships, the stuff like that, I don't know.
The rings.
Well, you see guys like the Chicago Blackhawks team. Those guys are going to get together year after year and hang out. And what's Ovechkin going to do? He's going to go back to Russia. What's he do after that? What's Kovalchuk doing in Russia? Just hanging out, playing in the KHL. Guys like Datsuk that won championships. They're a different pedigree of human being than, some superstars. Like the Radulovs, the Ovechkins, the guys in the NFL that are just looking to get paid at running back. Every sport has their player like that.
The Donovan Sue.
And unfortunately, sometimes natural talent doesn't transition into a good team player. If you're playing a sport to make money, then make the money. If you're playing a sport to play the sport, then be a team player. That's where I'm at with that. I'm gonna pass it over because I could go forever on this.
Yeah. Jamie,
Yeah, I'll build off what you said. I agree. I think I'd rather win a championship pretty much any day of the week. Like you said, any day as a professional athlete is a good day. You're doing all right. You're able to more than take care of your family, more than provide, and give back. You have that opportunity. And I see guys like Chris Long didn't take a paycheck this entire season. 100% of his $1.5 million went to charity this year. Didn't take a paycheck this year. Awesome. You don't see guys doing that. You don't. It just doesn't happen. But it's these guys are so fortunate. They've had long careers, and he's a prime example of a guy who just kind of he's been chasing a championship, not chasing money at the point in his career. So getting more serious with the parameters of the question, third-year guy, contract year, it would kind of depend on where you're going, to be honest. I'd rather chase a championship. I'm not going to go sign with Cleveland for $45 million a year if I have an opportunity to sign with Pittsburgh for $5 million a year. That's a crazy, crazy difference, but I think I'd still sign with Pittsburgh. You go to Cleveland to die. What are you going to do? You're going to have $150 million, big whoop. Still got to pay tax.
And you don't get to win anything.
Who cares if 90 of that is guaranteed? You can do all the humanitarian work you want, but you'd probably be out of the league in 3 years. Look at Brock Osweiler. $72 million, 49 of it guaranteed or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm chasing championship 100%.
I like that. Straight to the point. I like that. I'm going to take it in terms of this perspective. First off, I would love to be drafted by my team. You took a football perspective, Jamie, so that's good, especially because you're a host of In the Pocket. Justin, we're on the hockey side of things on the show more so, even though we do both shows. I would hope I'm drafted by the Maple Leafs, okay? But let's say I am out of my entry level, which in hockey's 5 years, so 3 or 5. So despite football's different, everything's different when it comes to that. 4. So in that range, when I'm a free agent, I want to go to Toronto. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to want to go play for the team that I loved growing up, and despite where they're at, play for a team that I love to play and lead them to a championship and hopefully be an inaugural part of that. Now, like I said, we're an above-average talent, but I want to play for my favorite team. Okay, but to go to that lead your team to the championship, that would always be my lead route. But in terms of this general question, absolutely not money. I would love to, don't get me wrong, to have $50 million and be like, hey, okay, here Mom, Dad, here Alicia, here family, here Jamie, here Justin, here Dustin, here Dane, here Jerry, here's some money. Let's all have fun. Let's all go buy 10 beach houses and all share it all and have a fun time. But no, I believe in legacy over money. Tom Brady took a pay cut for the Patriots and go that route and was able to get a better team around him. Now, last I remember, he has a gauntlet on his hand, as if you know Marvel Cinematic Universe with Thanos. I call him Thanos. I know they call him the Evil Empire. I call him Thanos because he has the gauntlet on his hand. Okay, so I'm going with that road. Or you got Gretzky, who won 4 Stanley Cups as well. You got Crosby, who's won 3 Stanley Cups. But he's making $8.7 million, which is actually not that much when you think about it in terms of today as the salary cap grows. Legacy over money, 100%. When you win a championship, you said that perfectly, Justin. You gain memories, you gain that friendship, you have stories to tell. Having rings. I'm somebody who's played, and I hate referring to my past, believe it or not, but I don't have a ring. I've never won in the world of sports and hockey. I lost in the finals numerous times. Junior, I lost in the semis, lost in the finals, lost it all. I don't have a ring. I wish I would have something to look back on opposed to some Randy Russin archives that were in the Sioux this week. It is legacy. When you have the championship, your name's engraved on a trophy. It is. You got a Stanley Cup. Your name's engraved on the Stanley Cup forever. You're a part of history with the Super Bowl. You're a part of history when you win FIFA. Doesn't matter, you're a part of it. That legacy, I would definitely look at the team that's going to be the best team to be a part of. You always look at yourself in terms of where I'm going to fit. Sure, that's a part of it, always. But winning championships and going to the right fit all around like that is definitely where I'd go. So screw money, hell yeah to legacy is my answer, 100%. Any other points you guys want to add to that topic?
We're all in the same boat on that.
I think it's a pretty obvious answer, but it's definitely a topic.
Canadian boy answer, though, to be honest, for us here.
It's a very polite answer.
I almost feel like asking Austin Matthews what his answer is going to be.
That's where I thought you were going to go with the question, to be honest.
You know what? We said this a couple months ago. I'm believing in $10 million, but I know my heart's like, absolutely not. That guy is signing 12.5. North, Sportscenter Restaurant North. Not Dave, McDavid and Draisaitl took a contract in Edmonton now that caps them now. In the future, it might not. But where are the Oilers this year?
Yeah, but the Oilers, we could go for days on this, but I'm a firm believer that the Oilers hosed themselves on those negotiations only because they had Nugent Hopkins on their roster at 6.5, I think. Is it 6.5 or 6? Yep, got 6. But either or. Like, when you have Nugent Hopkins on your roster at that much money, then you can't not pay guys that are decent more than him. You have a $2 million player making 6.
And our guy who's way better that plays the same role as Nugent Hopkins, and we see our guy from a Toronto perspective, Nazem Kadri. Guy's making $4.5 million. And that guy wanted 6 when he signed, but they took 4.5 because he loves Toronto.
I feel like you're insulting Kadri by comparing him to Nugent Hopkins, to be totally honest.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's flat out. There's not... the closest player I would compare Nugent Hopkins to in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization... No, Ben Smith on the Marlies.
Wow.
Because, the talent like Nugent Hopkins doesn't have a place on our roster right now. It doesn't fit. He doesn't work. He doesn't...
At the end of the day, the generosity of Kadri taking a cut to stay home is what I would like to do. Especially if I'm Kadri, I'm doing that. But legacy over money, to move on from the topic. We can go back and forth about this for hours. Oh, what's that?
Scenario is Babcock. Like, if you get a coach that has a pedigree, like, you're gonna stay too. That makes a complete difference.
Absolutely. And when you look at, that's a quick example before we move on from it. Arizona and Vegas this year. Okay, let's go to that. Before this year started, I probably would have signed in Arizona over Vegas. if I'm a free agent. Here's why. Arizona's got a lot of good prospects coming up. I'm not a Strome fan, but they got a lot of good Bubs there with Perlini. They got Domi. They got I would have went there because I looked at Vegas, had a bunch of dusters. Sorry, I thought they weren't that good. Now that's a team that's showing they're all second, third liners. There's not a first liner on that team unless you're James Neal or a fourth liner on the team. That's why they're that good. But now I'd be kicking myself in the ass. But I would have signed in Arizona because that would have been a better fit for me. But if Vegas would offer me more money, I maybe would have said no because I still would have went somewhere that's better for me and maybe my legacy long term. Because I thought Arizona was in better shape than Vegas. Holy nope. They are not even close.
It goes back to the conversation we had earlier about the Eagles. You put a bunch of guys in a corner. You took them out of their comfort zone. You stuck them somewhere and said, you suck. And they said, no, we don't. Sitting.
All these guys in Vegas are like, this is a second chance. Yeah. And they've all bought into that mentality.
And look at Carlson on there. William Carlson was Columbus said you're taking him in the draft or we're letting him go anyways. And the guy is absolutely tearing it up and showing Columbus, how big of fools they are there. And where's Columbus in the standings right now? Despite being a good young team, they're not in the playoff spot.
I mean, Carlson was the cost to get rid of the David Clarkson contract. That was so Vegas took on the David Clarkson contract and got Carlson in that deal. And I believe a first-round pick or a second-round pick. Second-round pick. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely, but Columbus wanted to get rid of Carlson either way, apparently, according to Carlson. That's according to Carlson. We have to get that quote somewhere.
But, I mean, again, it plays into he's just hungry. He felt disrespected by the organization, and now he wants to stick it to him. That's a dangerous thing to do with talented players.
That's right, he's talented.
It's a real dangerous thing to do, and you can't. You write off some of these guys, and it's the best thing to happen in their career. Yep. I mean, some players need that. I mean, some guys, like you said, you wanted to get drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that would be your dream scenario. I would much rather work for it. I would want that. I would want be in Patrick Marleau's situation where Babcock calls you in the summer and says, "I need you here." Because you know what, as a player, that's got to be a much more self-satisfying feeling. When someone you view as maybe the best coach in his sport to call you and say, "I need you," versus
they ever need him?
Versus you being drafted and feel like you have a place there already that you haven't earned. Yeah. That's my take on it.
So I know we said we move on from it. So last question of it though. Okay, let's say you get drafted by Minnesota Wild, a pretty good team to get drafted by, a decent fan base. You're a free agent. Minnesota offers you $500,000 more, and they're a contender. Toronto offers you a contract, and they're a contender-ish. Where are you going?
I'm staying in Canada.
You're going to Toronto. See, because that's who you grew up cheering. That's who you want to make a legacy with. Players don't do that nowadays. People say, look at PK Subban. Would he sign in Toronto if he was a free agent? I truly don't think he would. I truly do not think Subban would sign in Toronto. The only person I think would sign in Toronto is Drew Doughty. Quote I'll take from somebody is John Tavares, friend of a friend, is good friends with John Tavares, said that I will not sign in Toronto ever. Last I checked, reading the outlets this year, I think he might sign in Toronto, and I think he's going to get a different output on now if he ever became a free agent. But you sign where you want to, because that's the Canadian in us. When you love a team in a sport, you sign where you want to go. Money does not matter. Sort of.
It's a country thing. If I had the choice between a Canadian and an American team, Canadian teams need more Stanley Cups than American teams.
Imagine playing for the Jets right now, too. The Jets.
That's a patriotic thing. You're a Canadian person. Hockey is a Canadian game. You want the Canadian teams to win the championships. That's
like you said. Paul Maurice, friend of the show, said we got to love what we're doing, and I'm sure any Bill Belichick would say that in terms of the NFL. We know John Gibbons would say that in terms of for the Blue Jays or for any sport. As long as you're playing the sport you love, you're very fortunate. I sit in an office job all day. Jamie, you work your balls off at work. Justin, so do you. Maybe. So, but I would love to be making the check they're doing, sure. But to do what they love, it's like what I'm doing, talking to you guys, doing the show. It's something that I love doing that we do on a voluntary basis. May I add as well. So we're going to move on from that topic. Great first topic. We went a little bit longer on it. So it's going to make the second question a little bit shorter. And the second question I'm going to go with, I know we had one originally, but we're going to go with this one. I know we had the Colin Kaepernick one in mind. That's going to be next week. That's going to be next week for the roundtable discussion. We're going to go to, if you're a coach, it's kind of ties to the first question. And we're kind of taking a little jab at Josh McDaniels here a little bit. But if you're a coach, basically the question is, if you're a coach, would you do what Josh McDaniels did? That's basically what the question is, but let me rephrase the question to the Game Sports Show standards. You're a coach in the professional organization, being the NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB. Could you ever tell a team that you would sign with them, but then ultimately not sign with them? Justin.
I mean,
a little bit biased jumping in first.
That's a tough one. I mean,
is it tough? Look at Babcock with the Leafs. Apparently he told the Sabres that he was signing and then he went to Toronto. Same with Clarkson signing with the Oilers before he went to Toronto. Yes, I'll sign. Then all of a sudden the Leafs doing some New England Patriot business and getting some people weaseling in there, maybe a little side under the table. Doesn't matter. We're benefiting from being Leaf fans. But could you do that? If you tell a team, yes, I'll go to you, then ultimately saying, screw you, I'm going somewhere else.
The difference in the Babcock thing versus the McDaniels thing is that Babcock didn't have the team hire his assistants. Babcock didn't personally call people and tell them to move to Indianapolis.
Good point.
And uproot their families and move them there. So at the end of the day, nothing was signed. There was no contract signed. There's nothing binding. There's no legal mumbo-jumbo there. But could I ever do that? Not a chance. I have a spine and character. So I couldn't bail on... When you're committing to be a coach in an organization anywhere, you're committing to help try and make people better. And so there's a certain vulnerability that goes on with these people accepting you as their coach and you accepting them as your players. And in a situation like Indianapolis, the Patriots are a sworn enemy. And there was a lot of convincing that probably had to go on to bring a guy like that into the locker room. And so now these players' trust has been betrayed. And it creates a whole lot of trust issues at a time in a society where we need less dramatics and just more good stuff.
Trump's the president of the United States and Trudeau is the prime minister of Canada. And when you refer to Trump getting elected, I'm going a little dive into the United States political side of things. But two countries that are second guessing their leadership. I seriously think Canadians are second guessing leadership with Trudeau, especially with this recent press conference. Now we're getting into something else we don't need to get into on a sports show. But
we're not here tonight to offend people kind. We're only here to have a radio show talk about sports.
There we go. That's exactly what I was getting. Hashtag people kind. Hi. Jamie, your take on the question. The second official question of the Roundtable Sportscenter game.
I'll just for kicks, I'll play the other side a little bit. Josh McDaniels. First of all, if I was in Josh McDaniels' shoes, I would have, after Denver, there's a 0% chance I would have ever left. No way. New England has given him absolutely everything. If I were to, everything he can imagine. He's set himself up. He's widely regarded as one of the best offensive coordinators in the biz. People aren't going to argue with that. Part of it, obviously, is having Tom Brady. That helps massively. But all the guys that are successful have a good quarterback in place. But the way he handled it, obviously poor, very poor. But I would never, and it's tough, right? You're in the Super Bowl. If New England didn't make the playoffs, he's probably there right now, 100%, right? There's got to be something in the water there that, with Bill not wanting to keep going forever, obviously. But they must have said something to him. But, bottom line, I would not have done what Josh did the way he did it. It's one thing to pull shoot, but I would probably have told my assistants, don't sign until I'm there. Because you got to think at some point, right? Do you want to leave? You're going to be thinking about it right up until the Super Bowl. If the Super Bowl goes poorly, which it did, things happen, right? Bill and Robert Kraft and those guys have given him everything. I compare it to myself. If I were, obviously, to get paid to coach would be the dream job for me. But if an organization brought me up and I was at a point where I was coordinating, next in line basically to run the show, and I got a head coaching job somewhere else, and I'm going for a national championship or whatever, or Super Bowl, and that were to happen, I'd have a hard time just personally because I'm not a terrible human being. Not to bash Josh again, but I mean, you did a dumb thing, dude. But I'd have a hard time leaving that organization unless it was like I had 100% backing from the organization I'm with right now.
So if you're married, why are you taking other girls out on dates?
100%. Yeah. But like I would have, if I was Josh, I would have had to have Robert Kraft and Bill both saying, "You've done great for this organization. Best of luck." And Bill's just not that kind of guy, 100%. And I can't blame him. Like, you keep the guys that are good for your organization. If I'm Bill, I want to hold on to Josh and Matt.
Do you think maybe Josh had that in mind? I know this question is really geared towards Josh, and it is. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. It obviously is geared towards him. Do you think maybe that Bill convinced him to say? Do you think that maybe something came up where, hey, listen, here's an extra $1 million. Shut your mouth. Tell them no. Stay with us. Because I'm retiring in a year, 2 years tops. This could be all yours. This dynasty that won't have Tom Brady at that time. I don't care if Tom says he's playing till he's 45. He's not. He has 2 years left tops in the tank, I think. And that's if this year, if he doesn't do well, he might retire after this year.
I don't even know that McDaniel signed a contract extension. I know his contract expires at the end of next season. Like, I think he just chose to remain with the Patriots.
He's pigeonholed himself now for at least a few years. Until people forget. But people don't forget. I mean, people forgot about Bill though with the Jets. Like,
I don't forget.
You don't forget. but like the vast majority of sports fans forgot about that. Like, you got to be pretty diehard. You got to remember things. Justin has a ridiculous memory, so that helps too. But there's something happened behind closed doors in New England. Like, Josh got some guarantees. He got some money thrown at him. Whatever. Something happened. Because they've told him, like, you're going to be with the Patriots until you want to retire. Or until he decides, I'll go run Alabama's program or something. Like, that's he can only go down. He can't become an NFL head coach again for at least 10 years.
Or until Tom tells the Patriots he's their new coach. And then they say, see you later, Josh.
Then you got Tom Brady being the head coach and Josh McDaniels as the O coordinator.
Hilarious.
My take, you know what, you guys got good points. I'd be beating a dead horse if it sound like a broken record, actually be the better analogy to use, because I'm just full of intelligent analogies and points today here on the Game Sports Show on this Monday, February 12th edition here. I agree with you both 100%. I don't think we've ever had a clean sweep of 2 questions in our multiple choice segment in hockey on Thursdays or on previous in the pocket segments with questions, but clean sweep. If I say to a team I'm going to you, I'm signing that day. Sorry, or if I can't sign that day, as soon as I can sign, I'm signing with you, because is it another backbone Canadian thing, not chirping Americans, and a lot of our listeners are Americans, so we're not chirping you, but we're saying that if it's I'm sure that you wouldn't do that. No genuine person, if you're Canadian, American, Chinese, Korean, any kind of thing, you wouldn't do that. I'm not saying Josh McDaniels is an asshole, but I'm saying he's a snake. I'm saying he's a snake. I'm saying there's something that happened behind that shouldn't have happened at the end of the day. But if you have a backbone, you just don't do that. You sign with the team you say you're going to sign to. You just don't leave. You just don't leave and put yourself in that situation. So clean sweep on the board. That I fully agree with you both. That you stay with the team. Don't put yourself in that particular situation. So, fellas, I said that we would jump into basketball, but we're not going to jump into the full details. We've got the producers in the ear and Scott saying how we have to wrap up. So I'll just quickly and briefly say how the Raptors are first place in the Eastern Conference in the NBA. Yesterday, a big win over Charlotte. But the Cleveland Cavaliers defeating the Celtics yesterday as well. And the Cleveland Cavaliers completely fire sailing everything is definitely a surprise. And the Raptors staying put and not getting DeAndre Jordan at the trade deadline. Yes, DeAndre Jordan, I'm throwing the name out there in general. Making a minor league move of sorts, trading Bruno Capicolo. I call him Capicolo because I'm Italian. Fun little joke. Moving him, and that's about it. The Raptors are the best team in the East. And guys, we're not going to jump into a full briefing of the Raptors. I'm just going to go around and ask you both one thing. Because next week, we're going to jump into a full detail of the Raptors and NBA. Are the Raptors for real and have a chance to get to the finals this year? And I mean the NBA finals. Jamie.
Based on everything in the East right now, 100%.
Just?
I feel by default they're the team from the East, so I guess they have to, unless two teams from the West all of a sudden can make the finals.
I think at the end of the day, I had somebody named Dustin Grondin tell me yesterday that when LeBron gets in the playoff mode, no one can touch him. The way I see the Raptors this year, I see a team that's hungry and a team that's different, and even Valanciunas is different. I think the Raptors are making the finals this year. I'm saying it bold. They're going to beat the Celtics and the Cavs to get there, but they're going to get a little bit of a roadblock when they play either Houston or Golden State in the finals. Probably Golden State. But to see Toronto get to the finals, we will see that this year. I'm calling it. I'm liking the team. Cleveland, I love seeing the fire sale. I don't think it was great. IT goes to the Lakers as a decent first game. Blake Griffin going to the Pistons as well. Good move for Detroit. A slap in the face to Blake Griffin if you're signed with the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan's probably in LA going, why, hello, get me the bleep out of this place, please, right now. But bright side for you, DeAndre, you still got sunshine in LA. Okay, here in Toronto, it's a little chilly. Okay, you can't be going to the courts. You can't go balling in the courts there. Okay, I'll tell you right now. But Isaiah Thomas moving to LA, he's going to be the guy in LA, though. He's going to be the guy, and he's going to do well. He wasn't in a good situation in Cleveland. Wade going back to Miami, I love it. I love seeing it. It's original. That's where I think of Wade is as a Heat, not a Bull or a Cav. Good way for him to go retire. But Raptors first in the East. Raptors one of the top teams in the NBA. Love to see it. And the Cleveland fire sale, love it. LeBron will not be there after this year, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, still a decent trade deadline and a good, exciting coming up finish for the NBA this season. That's going to be our quick little points of the NBA because we couldn't get to it fully today. So we're going to get into it next week with our show, as we had quite a great discussion with that roundtable. I like that, especially that first question. I might have to call the Leafs and tell them I'll play for free. I wonder if they'll sign me. Definitely not. Definitely not signing me. Absolutely not. Justin, Jamie, I want to say thanks for coming by. Jamie, next week you good?
Yeah, man.
Justin, I'll see you Thursday.
Be there.
Be there. Boston Pizza, to give you guys, the listeners, quick little recap. Monday, the Wicked Sisters, 6 to 7 on 95.1. Then we have 7 to 8. We'll be pre-recorded before putting on. That's every Monday, except today, this Monday, we had a cancellation, which is why we're here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill for the Monday, Wednesday famous 75-cent wing nights from 4 to 12. And then usually, like I said, on Wednesdays, we're at SportsCenter. This week, obviously, we're not going to be here Wednesday. We're going to be back here next Wednesday for our SportsCenter show. Then Thursday at 9:30, which is the same time we're here on Wednesday at SportsCenter, but at Boston Pizza on Thursdays at 9:30, we're going to be at Boston Pizza, as I said, until 11 o'clock, talking hockey and baseball, and, of course, our famous trivia question. So make sure you listen to some previous shows to get those questions, to get those answers, and especially for last week's, how many items are on Boston Pizza's menu? Send me the answer, get put into the draw to win a prize. And Jamie, I don't know if you knew this. I know Justin knew this, but we have a whole new hookup for the Game Sports Show that I didn't really touch it on the first, and I got reminded from Scott and the producers in the ear to make sure I reminded it at the conclusion. We have a new podcast page. It's not Podomatic.com anymore. We've went up. No offense to Podomatic, but we're in Podbean. Now, we're in the GameSportsShow.podbean.com. You can get all the old shows that we've had. All get caught up, and we also have something that officially launched this week, www.thegamesportshow.com. The only thing that needs to be added is the bios that will be added tonight on that show, where you can also look up all the episodes and look at the old shows as well. And all those old shows are connected with Podbean and the website. They're also on YouTube. On the Scott Nason channel, we are going to have a Game Sports Show channel, just in the mix of getting things arranged, because we have a new email, the Game Sports Show ssm@gmail.com, and that's where you can send in your answers for the trivia question. And all that combined, you got your Podbean page, you got your YouTube page, you got your website, got all our information. We're going to have merchandise selling by the mid-March is our goal. We're going to be selling merchandise on behalf of the Boston Pizza Show with a local sponsor of shorts and a charity organization as well that we're going to have all attached to the shirts, and you can be able to get those T-shirts and potentially hoodies, and all the money is going to go towards this charitable organization. Jamie, a lot of big strides, a lot of big things for the game. Make sure you tune into the website, and when you get on Podbean, you can follow us. I know everyone's going to think it's a process. All you have to do is type in your email, and it just automatically connects, and every time a show comes up, you get the notification on your email and your cell phone, and it helps us. when we have you down as a follower as well. It makes us look good in the world as well. You can listen to older shows with Paul Maurice and Joe Bowen and get to the new agenda, as this week at Boston Pizza we have Drew Fata and Aiden Wright coming on this week, captain of the Lake State Lakers and former pro player Drew Fata. A lot of great things coming up. We got Turquato, we got Kennedy, we got Kyle Jean, we got a lot of good individuals coming on the Boston Pizza Show, and of course in our Sportscenter show we got us and our famous roundtable discussion now. Then Mondays we're going to have local guests as well. So a lot of good things happening on the game, so make sure you subscribe on Podbean and tune in as well. I want to say thanks to Tiana and Alicia, the beautiful waitresses. Easy. And also thanks to Scott Nason, the board operator, as always. Make sure you tune into our show from Boston Pizza live this Thursday, or come on by at 9:30 to talk to Justin, Dane, and myself. Fellas, thanks for stopping by. Jamie?
Ciao.
Justin?
Been a slice.
Been a slice. That's a good little pun for the slice of pizzas that we've ate tonight. And on behalf of the Game Sports Show, Dave McCaig sign off, and to all of you here, have a good night.